Hi guys, Callum Leslie here, Executive Chef of the Black Swan at Oldstead. So what I'm going to be doing today is just talking you through how we cook the perfect steak, utilising this beautiful locally shot venison. We're going to be using the haunch of the steak, just coming from the back legs. So first things first, the most important thing you need to do is get it out of the fridge about an hour before you're actually going to be cooking it. Gives it time to room up, so you're going to get a real nice even cooking throughout. Next most important step for me is just getting that seasoning absolutely right. So a good amount of high quality sea salt. We like to use Malden sea salt in the restaurants. It's really good flavour about it. You want to season it all over. I'm going to lose a little bit of this in the cooking process anyway. Once that's all over, I personally like a bit of pepper on my steak as well, so we're just going to cover that as well. If you don't like pepper, then that's absolutely fine. Leave that out, but I think it brings a lovely kind of herbiness to the venison. So once that's seasoned up now, we'll turn our attention to the pan over here. Nice warm pan here. You really want an initial caramelisation and heat coming through in that. Happy with the seasoning all the way around on that, and then we're literally just gonna lay that in the pan now. Get that initial sear. And you don't want to get your oil too hot at this point either. You don't want to get that real like harsh, bitter caramelisation. You're looking for really beautiful golden brown really. I'm gonna probably give that another 30 seconds on this side before I turn it over. Yeah, so we've just got that lovely, nice even caramelisation on that now. I'm gonna do exactly the same on the other side. Quickly seal the ends. What that does is it traps in all the moisture of the steak, so it's not going to leak out in the cooking process. We want to keep it, you know, real nice and moist. So now I'm happy with that caramelisation all the way around. I'm just going to cool the pan down with a little bit more of the oil. I'm just going to go in with a few knobs of butter. You want to cool that pan down so your butter doesn't burn as soon as it goes into the pan. So you're getting that light brown butter, not dark and bitter basically. And we're just going to give that a nice bake, just for about a minute or so. Get a beautiful even caramelisation on that now. Super important to get the colour on the steak before you add the butter though, otherwise you will just burn your butter. And what we're going to do now is just pop that in the oven for 3 to 4 minutes before we check it. So I'm just going to pop that in a preheated oven, 180 degrees, 3 to 4 minutes. We're just going to let that cook, and then it's really important to get the resting time right on this as well. You know, I normally like to rest a steak that size for probably 8-10 minutes before we carve into it. You know, it makes it not as chewy and aesthetically a lot more pleasing as well when you cut it into that steak. So I'm just going to get this out of the oven, give it a little check. I might just flip the steak over as well. I think it's a really important thing to be able to, every good chef at home should have is one of these electrical probes. It's just so easy to get your hands on and just it takes all the guesswork out of cooking. You know, a lot of people try and do it on feel and touch, but I think just take the error out of it. It's just such a great way to learn to cook a perfect steak like that. What we're looking for is an internal temperature about 44-ish degrees, and what that'll do is we'll then take that out of the oven and let it rest. That resting time is actually the steak's going to keep climbing in temperature. We want it to hit about 48, 50, that's how I personally like to have my steak. Rares classically between 43 and 45. I'd say medium rares anywhere from 46 to 48. Mediums 50, 50 plus, and then well done, I wouldn't bother, don't bother. Save yourself the money and have a chicken. But that's just going to go back in the oven now. We're going to just drop that back in there for maybe another 2 minutes. Yeah, okay, so that's basically bob on around 43 degrees now. So what we're going to do is just take our little resting tray here and just pop it on there. Don't want to waste that butter, just put a little bit of that over it. And what we're going to do now is just going to set like a 10-minute timer basically. We're just not wanting to carve into it too soon. We're just going to allow the meat to relax. Just want to get that steak as tender as possible, and I think just resting it for a good 10 or 12 minutes is the best way to do that. So we like to use these like little resting racks because you want to have, basically there's going to be a lot of juice coming out of this steak, and you don't want the steak to be necessarily just sat in it. It can creep up in temperature a lot quicker that way as well. Nice bit of air circulation going around it so that internal temperature's building but the outside's not overcooking. That's why we want as little kind of contact with the tray as possible essentially. So I love cooking with venison. We've got so many like wild deer around here anyway. I think it's just such a great thing to be able to really celebrate and champion. But it's just got so many added health benefits. You know, it's such a lean meat. There's not a lot of inner muscular fat in them. You know, they're running around constantly, and it's just like, you know, you need to take a lot of care when you're preparing them. When they're cooked really nicely like this and rested properly, you know, it's absolutely beautiful, and it's just so good for you as well. Maybe not the amount of butter I use, but. So we've obviously got the grains here running all the way along. We're going to carve against the grain with this. So I'm just going to take this little bit here off first, because it's going to be dried up and not very nice. And then we're just going to go down a couple of pieces. It's got this lovely, nice and pink in this middle still there. Like that. And then what we'll do is, again, we'll just season the cuisson, as it's called, the cooking of it, just like that basically. And that's how I'd cook my perfect steak.